I've had to make this head motion so much in the negative. It feels so good to shake my head in a can't believe that happened. Mariners win 7-6. They improve to 5-8 on the year, and they finally have their first series win of 2025 over the Houston Astros. Go over the scoring plays. You guys said you wanted the scoring plays, so we're going to give you the scoring plays. Astros get 3 in the second. Jake Myers singles to right to score Jeremy Pena. Cam Smith singles to right to score Victor Caratini, and Jose Altuve reaches on an infield single to third. That scores Jake Meyer. It's 3-0 in the middle of the second. Third inning, a bases-loaded walk. Not the last time we'll talk about a bases-loaded walk. Makes it 4-0 in the middle of the third. This one to Brendan Rodgers to score Christian Walker. In the 8th inning, not a lot happening between the 3rd and the 8th inning. Yordan Alvarez hits a sacrifice fly to left, just gets under it. Thank goodness he just gets under it. It scores Cam Smith. It's 5-0. In the 8th inning, Randy Arozarena, with 2 outs and the bases loaded, hits a grand slam to score Mastrobuoni, J.P. Crawford, and Julio Rodriguez. 5-4 at the end of the 8th. Astros get an insurance run in the 9th. Jeremy Pena scores on a Casey Lawrence, who we'll talk about, wild pitch. That makes it 6-4. But in the 9th inning, with the bases loaded, Julio Rodriguez doubles to right. It scores Donovan Solano and Mastrobuoni. That ties the game at 6-6. And with the bases loaded, Randy Arozarena, a bases loaded free pass, scores the winning run. And the Mariners get a vital, I won't say must, vital win. Vital. Said that word so much it no longer makes sense. We always start with the negatives. We start with the negatives from this game. There's a ton, but I don't want to harp on them too long. The obvious negative is Luis F. Castillo is not it. We knew that. We know why Luis F. Castillo is starting. It's because George Kirby's hurt and they don't trust Emerson Hancock. They want him to get right in AAA. And hopefully, by the time he may be right, hopefully George Kirby's ready to roll. But that's why Luis F. Castillo's starting. He stinks. He's not a good starting pitcher. There is a reason why this guy has been organizational depth or was playing, all due respect to overseas baseball. There's a reason why teams weren't clamoring for him, even while putting up some decent numbers in for, I believe it was Oryx. Yeah, he's not it. I'm going to go out and make a hot take here. He's probably not the best Luis Castillo on the Seattle Mariners. Command was wretched. This could have been so much worse. I mean, you see flashes there. The slider's pretty good. Nothing else is even close to good enough. He's starting because we know why. It sucks, but we know why. And the offense is really going to have to support him if he makes another start. I really hope he's not making another start. I do not want to watch that experience again. By the way, I will caution, I missed innings 4 through 7 while getting an ultrasound. I'm okay. Everything's going to be fine. I've burdened you enough with my problems, but I did miss some innings. Saw enough. This is fortunate because I would have rewatched the game, but nothing happened. Nothing happened from the 4th to the 7th. So I'm perfectly comfortable with recording this video. The other negatives, this offense stunk for 7 innings. Stunk. Like Hunter Brown, the 4 innings that I watched, or 3 innings I watched, he pitched okay. And I will give the Astros some credit. They made some spectacular infield defensive plays, but there was a reason we say infield plays. They couldn't drive the baseball off Brown at all. Couldn't. Just flat out couldn't. And if not for some heroics, we would be screaming about another, at least I'd be screaming, another inept offensive performance. Inept. For 7 innings, it was hot garbage. They scored 1 run over the last 19 innings, and that's not acceptable. That's just flat out not acceptable. You know what is acceptable? Using Simply Seattle to save 15% off of your orders. Use code MOLLYWAT15 to save that 15%, and you get the best stuff from the Mariners, the Kraken, the Seahawks, the Supersonics, the Seahawks. I think I said Seahawks twice. They're worth saying twice. They're the most recent championship team. The Sounders, the Storm. Find it all at simplyseattle.com. Use code MOLLYWOP15, like I said, MOLLYWHOP15. Super appreciate Simply Seattle for sponsoring the show. Link in the description. They are awesome. Okay, let's talk about some positives. The bullpen tonight saved the Seattle Mariners bacon. Just absolutely kept them in the game. Great job by Bizzardo. It wasn't pretty, but he gets the job done. Awesome job by Colin Snyder. Now, again, I didn't see Colin Snyder pitch, but I knew I wanted to talk about Colin Snyder, so I went back and watched that inning while I broke the law. But I watched that inning. He pitched well. And the results obviously are there. And I know Casey Lawrence ends up giving up 2 runs. He is huge. Huge. And it's so awesome to see him get the win because he's the person who deserves the win. Now, if we want to go back to the negative side, I would not have had Casey Lawrence pitching in a 1-run game in the 9th inning. I would have probably gone to Thornton or someone else in that situation, maybe not available. But that was my one critique, was using Lawrence there. Gregory Santos probably should have been available since he didn't work last night, but maybe they want to give him 2 days in a row off after working back-to-back games. That's my one critique of today. I got one other one, and I'm sorry to go back to the negative because I really want to talk about 2 guys for the next hour and a half. I didn't love the decision to pinch hit Mitch Garver. Now, maybe that has something to do with Polanco's side. You know, they pinch hit, I believe, with the bases loaded. Yeah. They pinch hit for Jorge Polanco, who has been awesome this year, with a lefty on the mound, and maybe they just don't feel comfortable with him swinging from the right side. Okay. I hope that's the case. I hope and I don't hope, right? Because I don't want him to be that hurt. But if that was the reason for that decision, I don't love it. I don't love it. The way he came back so quickly to the dugout probably suggests to me, but man, I all due respect to Mitch Garver, I want Jorge Polanco swinging the bat. So I'm hoping that was, and again, saying hoping for an injury is skeptical or questionable decision-making. But I didn't love that decision. Either way, this offense was dreadful for 7 innings. And then in the 8th inning, who do we want to start with? First of all, Miles Mastrobuoni, and another negative, Ryan Bliss with the torn biceps. This sucks. The Mariners are going to have to trade for an infielder. That, or if they believe in Cole Young and he hasn't been very good in Tacoma so far, you could call up Ben Williamson, who would make a massive defensive upgrade at third base. But that's a major bummer for a guy who was starting to swing the bat better and has been so good defensively. But Miles Mastrobuoni gets to start at second base, and he had a really solid game. 2 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. I'm not relying on Miles Mastrobuoni if I don't have to. Kind of have to right now. But a really solid game from him. He's looked much better with the bat than I thought he would. It's a very small sample, but good game from him. JP Crawford gets on twice. Anybody else? Donovan Solano leads off the 9th inning with a pinch hit single. Great to see some success from him, especially against a righty. But let's be honest. There's 2 guys to talk about tonight. And hey, you're okay. There's people bowing. I'm sorry. Julio Rodriguez and Randy Arozarena. Yep. That double from Julio is maybe my favorite swing Julio Rodriguez has ever put together. Because to lash a ball like that on the outside part of the plate, after not having a great game at all, striking out in the first 2 at-bats, grounding out weakly to third base, I believe it could have been shortstop. Not having a great game. It's bases loaded. It's 1 out. All of the pressure is on you. It's 6-4. And to take a really well-executed pitch and to lash it into right field like that is special. It is special to make that kind of hard contact the opposite way in as clutch a situation as possible. And if you keep telling me that Julio Rodriguez can't get it done, I'm going to find you and we are going to get you audited. That's as mean as I can be because obviously he can get it done. Has he always? No. Has any major league player? No. But Julio Rodriguez has come up huge for this team over 3+ seasons. And tonight was massive against a good pitcher. Now, was Brian Abreu at his best? Of course not. But that's a special, special play. That was just as big a hit as you could possibly have. Because look, Big Dumper did not get the job done with the bases loaded and 1 out. And everybody talks about, and I love Big Dumper. I think everybody who watches this channel knows that I am infatuated with him. Big Dumper's scuffling right now and has had some pretty shaky moments in big situations. Again, has come up huge in some others. But it's a little weird how we talk about one guy and not the other guy coming up. It's just a little weird. But that hit was, I mean, without that hit, they lose. We're talking about a 4-9 record. We're talking about a 3-game series against the Rangers where you're facing basically the top of their rotation. One of the most talented pitchers in baseball's history in Jacob deGrom. A Nathan Eovaldi who has shoved against the Mariners at times. It's a bad situation. That was a massive hit. And yet, it's not even one of the 2 biggest plays in this game because Randy flipping Arozarena. You're down 5-0. You had the bases loaded, nobody out. And, Garver as a pinch hitter doesn't get it done. Like I said, Cal Raleigh doesn't get it done. I believe struck out. You're about to have another bases loaded, nobody out situation fail. And Randy Arozarena says, nah. And just clobbers a pitch. Just clobbers it. And it turns 5-0 into 5-4. Unbelievable. And unbelievably, never the moment is too big. I know that was a little Yoda. It's never too big for Randy. It never will be. And then, in the 9th inning, with 2 outs, bases loaded, and he lays off a pitch that a lot of hitters swing at. A lot. The overwhelming majority, I'd even argue, especially in that situation. But nope. He sees where it is. I'm watching it right now on my screen. The walk. Julio scores the game winner. Mariners win. You cannot overstate how important this win was. You can't. Don't give a crap if it was April 9th. What's today? April 8th? No, I think it's the 9th. I don't care if it was June 12th. I don't care if it was October 31st. I don't care if it was Saturn AD 2068. I don't care. The Mariners could not lose this game. And because of Julio Rodriguez, Randy Arozarena, and a ton of credit to the bullpen, they don't. They don't. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. My number one takeaway from watching these 3 games, I don't think either one of these teams is a playoff team right now. That can obviously change. But neither one of these teams looks very good to me. And if you want to point out that the Astros were garbage to begin last year, okay. Astros had Kyle Tucker last year too. It just doesn't look like a very good baseball team to me. I'm not trying to take credit away from anybody. And they, easily could have swept this series. They easily could have been swept as well, but I don't think either Seattle or Houston should be thrilled with what they're seeing right now. But you avoided a disastrous series loss with this win. Man. That's why you go get a Randy Arozarena. That's why you lock up a Julio Rodriguez. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. I am just over the moon and needed this too, personally. Yesterday's loss just took a lot out of me. So much that I've talked more about 1997 than 2025. But this was awesome. This was awesome, and I hope it. I'm not a huge momentum guy, but I hope it is the start of opening some floodgates. And you have a chance now to have a winning homestand with a series win against the Rangers. That'd be awesome. Awesome. And Randy has a lot to do with that. A lot. That's an understatement and an obvious point. I loved this. As much as I hated last night's game, I loved this one.